So welcome back, everyone, to Orlando Out of Context. I'm Brian.
I'm Stephanie.
And today we have Madison with us. Hey, Madison.
Hello.
So Madison is coming to us because she kind of has a unique story, and I wanted to kind of tell her story about her time in quarantine and what she's been doing. But first, we kind of want to get to know
Madison. So I don't know you that well. Brian used to work with you. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about your Orlando story, like how you got here and why you stay.
Okay, so I actually had moved to Orlando with my family. I had moved here when I was in the 3rd grade. So I want to say it was like 2002 was when I had moved here. And my dad, he got a job with Disney. And so he's been with the company for about 17 years now. And so I basically moved here because of my family. And we just have never left. And so I consider Orlando my home. I originally come from Ohio, which is like, I come from a really small town called Wilmington, but I consider Orlando my home now. So that's kind of why I'm here and I've stayed.
What part of Ohio is Wilmington?
So Wilmington is in southern Ohio. It's about 35 minutes north of Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay. So really like down there.
Have you been to Cincinnati?
Probably.
Cincinnati has really beautiful Art Deco, right? Mm-hmm. Madison and Cincinnati.
Yeah, I love Cincinnati. Yeah, it's really cool because it's right on the river, so you can literally see Kentucky like right there across the way. So yeah, it's a nice city. I
grew up in Pennsylvania, like the part of Pennsylvania that's really close to Ohio. So I'm sure I've been to Cincinnati.
So did you grow up going like what? Well, at 3 you were here already, so you really didn't do any growing up.
Yeah. I had moved here when I was around. I want to say I was like 7 because I moved here when I was going to 3rd grade, and so like I had kind of had a childhood in Ohio, but not like a lot that I really remember. And we visit a lot too, so we try to go once or twice a year, and we have ever since we've moved here. So
you grew up going to Disney as a kid because obviously your father worked. So like what is that experience like? How often would you guys go? And because that always intrigues me.
Yes,
like growing up next to Disney because we didn't. The two of us, like Stephanie was in PA. She didn't come every year to Walt Disney World, and I didn't go every year to Disneyland.
And when we did, it was a big deal. It was a very special thing.
So what was it like? Like, how often did you guys go? And like, what were your like first memories of Disney?
Okay, so my mom's parents, they used to have a condo on Clearwater Beach, and so I had grown up coming to Florida at least once a year, maybe twice a year. And my first trip to Disney, though, was probably I believe it was when I was, I want to say 4 or 5 years old. It was when the castle was the birthday cake. It was for the 25th. And I remember the parade that was there. It was the Remember the Magic parade. And they had show stops, and so each float would come around and they'd stop, and the characters or like the dancers would pull you out of the crowd, and you would get to like bang on drums or like do limbo with like the Little Mermaid and all that stuff. And so those are like my first memories of Disney, because I had only gone to Disney and it was Magic Kingdom only for me. We had not gone to the other parks, and I think Animal Kingdom it wasn't even created. I think it was just in the works. I had only gone to Disney probably 2 or 3 times before moving here. So it was a pretty big deal when my dad got a job for Disney, and it was like, wow, you can go for free. We can go anytime we want. And so from then on, I basically like grew up just going to Disney. Like, if I was done with school or on the weekends, I just go with friends. So it is kind of crazy to say, like, I actually grew up going to Disney. It was like my childhood, like truly my childhood.
So when you were in high school, was that a thing you did with your friends? Like, hey, let's go hang out at the park.
Definitely.
Was that like a normal spot?
Yes, we would go all the time. And even in middle school, I had some friends. We would we'd have our parents drive us to Magic Kingdom, and we would all get in, and then we would go to Tom Sawyer's Island, and we'd play Manhunt on Tom Sawyer's Island. And so we would, basically we were just like playing hide and seek all the time. We would just do that. So we would ride the rides too, but we would always find creative ways to like have fun in Magic Kingdom and treat it like our own backyard. So
I mean, it really is. And Madison, did you guys, I know you live in Celebration now. Did your family always live in Celebration?
yes, yeah. So we had moved to Florida, partly. My parents talk about how they either wanted to move to Florida. They talked about California at one time, but they decided on Florida because my mom had her parents who had their condo here, so they knew they would get to see family more often than moving out west. And so, yeah, so we had moved down here, and we I don't know, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Celebration.
Yes, Celebration. I was like, where are we going with this? So yeah, my parents, they had heard about Celebration. My mom, okay, so little backstory. When we lived in Ohio, my parents every weekend would take me and my brother, at the time it was just the two of us, they would take us to the mall, and we would just go every weekend, and we would just stroll around. But at the time, like in Ohio, it was a big deal. There was a Disney store, and that was the closest we could get to Disney in Ohio. And so my mom was talking with a cast member that was working there in the store, and she was like, have you heard of Celebration? And my mom's like, what the heck is that? And she was like, oh, it's a town built by Disney. And my mom's like, are you serious? Like a town built by Disney? Okay. And so one time I guess we were down here, we went to Magic Kingdom, and we had left, and my mom saw the signs on World Drive that one of them said Celebration. So she goes, hey, like, let's go toward that way, and we'll see what that's about. That's that neighborhood that lady was telling us about. So my mom, she went in, or they drove in, and immediately my mom goes, these are like houses in Father of the Bride. Oh my gosh, like I love this place. And so from then on, they would just kind of visit, and they would come, and we would drive through, we would dream about it. And then they finally, I remember even touring the K-8 school here, Celebration School. And me and my brother, we were like, this is so cool. And they had Apple computers and all of that, which was so new because we were coming from Ohio. So that was like real country. And so we definitely fell in love with it. And so my parents were like, okay, like we'll move to Celebration. And my dad, he originally had a connection. He worked for Airborne Express in Ohio. There was like it's kind of like a UPS, but for air travel. It's like a shipment company. And so he had transferred with Airborne Express down here. And then after that, he had found a job with Disney. And so he's been with Disney ever since. Cool. So that's kind of how we got here.
Speaking of your dad working for Disney, you also work for Disney. Yes. And of course, we're not going to get too much into what you do, but obviously right now we're coming to everyone from quarantine. So Disney is shut down, so unfortunately. Yes. And so you kind of are furloughed basically. So exactly. Tell us what that was like kind of this timeline of like when you were like kind of figuring out, oh gosh, this is like real, like yeah. You know, this kind of the timeline of like what happened for you.
Yeah, so actually, before Disney had closed, I remember, you know, I had a friend texting me about coronavirus, and it started coming out that, hey, like it's entered the US, you know, don't know what it looks like. And my friend, she was like, this is going to be so much more serious than what people think. And in my head, I was like, okay, like, please, like get a grip, you know, because there's, you know, people freak out about everything all the time. And so I remember I was going into work, and I was on the bus heading into Magic Kingdom, and I had shared an article or like a post on my Facebook, and it was like, I'll worry about coronavirus like I do with hurricanes when Disney closes. And not even 8 hours later, they announced closing. And so I was like, well, I guess it is serious. And so
that was my point too. Like when Disney was closing, I was like, oh this is like real.
Yeah, you knew it was a big deal when they were closing, because they've only really closed. I mean, we closed, I think, for a day for Hurricane Dorian last year, and then we've like closed for a day here and there for other hurricanes. But other than that, like a major closure was like 9/11, and so it's just very out of the ordinary to have Disney close at all. And so the fact that they closed and it's still closed is kind of crazy to wrap your head around. And so, yeah, I mean, I want to say it was announced and we probably had like a week left or a couple days left to work. And then that was that. But slowly the park attendants started to kind of go down because no one new was checking in. It was all the old guests that were finishing up their trips.
So your seasonal status, right? So that means Disney was paying all of their like full-time employees. I don't know, were they paying part-time employees?
Yeah, I believe so. They were supposed to be paying part-time as well.
So they were paying their employees up until the cast members up until like April 17th or 18th.
Yeah, it was something like mid-April.
But because of your seasonal status, you didn't get that, right?
Correct. Yeah. So being seasonal, it has its perks, but it also doesn't have its perks at the same time. So yeah, with being seasonal, they because we don't work as often, or even if we do, it's kind of like you're not really like a scheduled cast member. So I just kind of would work, whenever I could, if I could assist someone if they needed to give away a shift or something like that. So that's mainly what I would do. So yeah, with seasonal, they weren't paying us for
so that took you into like job search mode, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I definitely didn't know what I was going to do because I had just moved into my own apartment and I was like, okay, well, I don't want to have to leave this nice apartment. I had moved back home to be with my parents just for like a year because just for, mental health reasons. They were like, come home, like, you can get back on your feet, like, take your time. So I did. And a year later, I had moved into my current apartment, which was probably back in like February.
Yeah, it wasn't very long. You weren't in there very long before.
Yeah, it had been like maybe a month. And now I was like, well, I may have to move out of this apartment because I had no other form of income. Disney was my only income. And so my parents, they were just kind of like, look and see if there's any jobs out there. I was looking, and of course, like, you had your grocery stores that were offering jobs, and, because they, needed people. I mean, probably one, people didn't want to work because of the virus, but then two, like, people were just coming in and flooding the grocery stores, taking all the toilet paper and paper products. So yeah, so I had my parents, I think it was my mom, she was like, hey, I saw that Amazon was hiring like 100,000 people or something.
Yeah, I saw that headline. I saw that headline too.
Yeah, she had told me that, and I was like, okay, well, let me just see like what's out there, because I was like, well, if I have to get a job and if I have to commute to Orlando, that's fine. And also this was back when, coronavirus was still kind of unfolding. So, at that point, it really was like, oh, only the elderly could be infected. And, I don't know, it was kind of up in the air at that point. And so I had looked online. I literally just Google searched, and on Amazon's website, they were hiring a work from home customer service associate. So I had applied, and I had applied to like, I think a couple other places. I was like, well, let me try Target, because I like Target. So, maybe I could get a job there. Or I tried like CVS Health. They had a work from home customer service job. And normally, I'm like, well, I have like a bachelor's degree. Why would I want to go work for Target, But I had seen a quote from someone, and they said like, no one is too good for a job. And so that was what kind of stuck out to me. I was like, you know what, like, this is a time where, I don't have to explain to someone why I'm, doing X, Y, Z, because at the end of the day, we're all on the same playing field and we're all struggling here. So I was like, okay, let me apply to a couple places. But I ended up getting the job with Amazon. So yeah.
So what position did they hire?
Sorry, the backstory.
What position did you end up receiving there?
So I am working for Amazon as a customer service associate. So I work from home. I have a computer set up at my desk. They sent me a desktop and a headset so that I could work from home, which is great. And yeah, so I basically just answer calls and help people with their orders, things like that. I mean, if there's a need to transfer to like Kindle or Alexa or something, like that's not a department with me. But if it comes down to like canceling an order, tracking an order, issuing a replacement, refund, things like that. Like that's what I handle with.
So do you have any funny stories? I mean, you don't have to tell them, but do you get like people calling in with like crazy?
Oh yeah.
Situations?
I mean, there's some, it's customer service. So I definitely, it's a struggle, anyone who's worked in customer service, they know. So, you have, customers that are worried about, their orders, and especially when it's an expensive item. And I totally get that. And, I try to do my best to help them and just kind of, ease their mind a little bit. But, yeah, I had recently, I think it was actually yesterday, I had this one lady, she called and she was so sweet and we just were laughing on the phone. And she needed help with an order. She had ordered headlights and brake lights because she's restoring an old Ford Mustang.
Oh, cool.
And so it was kind of cool because I would love to own like an old car. Like I really want like an old Ford pickup truck because I want a flower shop one day. Brian knows.
I know.
And so we kind of bonded over that a little bit, and I helped her with her order, and yeah, it was kind of great. I mean, there's moments where you can kind of laugh with people. This morning, I start my shift at 6 a.m, which is 3 a.m., obviously over in Seattle. And I had this lady this morning call in and she was like, I'm so sorry. I'm quiet, but I'm in my closet. It's 4 a.m. So like I have guests sleeping in my living room. So I'm trying to be quiet, And so we were just giggling about that. But yeah, I mean, you have some really, really sweet people. But then of course, you have those people that are really nervous. They want their money, So
I kind of like the human resources side of things. So what was like the hiring process? Did you have like a full like on interview, or like how did that go?
So there wasn't really an interview. There was like the application process, I would say was really long. They kind of like performed almost like a virtual, like I guess you would call it like an interview, but basically they would ask you questions and you would have to answer, or it was like they would give you like a mock situation where you would have to listen on a recording of like someone's, personal information, and you'd have to verify the information that was listed, all while having like the imaginary manager kind of saying like, hey, like, is everything okay? Are they upset? And you have to click yes or no. So it was they would kind of see if you can multitask while like listening, verifying information, and also answering a manager at the same time. So you did a couple of those. So that was kind of the process of applying. It was kind of like you did your interview prior to them actually, selecting you. So that was the process as far as applying and kind of having an interview. And then
So
after
how long
that,
did it take? How long did it take from the moment that you applied to the moment that you got like, yes, we're good, now we're going to send you the computer type thing?
So I want to say it was because I had applied probably like the week Disney had closed. I want to say I probably heard back like a week later. It was pretty quick. I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was a week later because I started with Amazon on April 6th. So Disney had closed, their last day was March 15th. So my official start date with Amazon was April 6th. And prior to that, I was supposed to start a week earlier, but they had just to push it back a little bit. So I want to say like a week after Disney had closed, and I'm sorry, a week after I had applied, I had heard. So it was a pretty quick process. And then from there, starting on April 6th, I had my orientation, which was like a 5-day process. So Amazon, they run on Pacific time. So everything was, earlier there. So my training was like 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. And you would kind of do like, it was like a virtual. So first, I'm sorry, let me back that up. So the first day you had to call in on what they call like a bridge. So it'd be like a Zoom call or something. So you would call in and they sent you like 2 boxes. They sent me 2 boxes of like my computer, all the supplies I need, and like a manual. So I had to build a computer.
What?
And in my mind, Brian, I mean, shout out to Ryan, because I literally was like, Ryan would be so proud of me right now because I was building a computer. I had never done this before.
So like it came in parts?
Yeah. So it literally had like the screen, you had like I don't know what you would call it, like the neck. I don't know, something. You would put it on, and then you had the keyboard, you had the mouse, you had like, it just came in so many pieces, and I had to put it all together and follow these instructions they sent to my email while on this like conference call.
That was your first task, and if you failed that, then probably they
pretty
were
much, and it was so rough too, because it was like me and 30 other people. So you had those people that were like, excuse me, and I'm like, I probably did not even get to ask a question, but I kind of just waited because I did the best I could, and I was like, well, someone's probably going to ask the question I have. So, and sure enough, they did. So it worked out. But
so in terms of timeline, are you like full-time status with Amazon and this job could last you 2 years if you wanted, or is this like a certain amount of time that they're going to keep you on?
Yeah, so it's full-time, but it's a temporary position. So basically what they're going to do is look at like our metrics and see like how well we're doing over the next, I want to say like 6 or 7 months. And then after that, they would either offer like a true full-time position, or they would be like, all right, we're done. Thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. Bye. So, and I view this job as temporary. It's not something that I want to do forever. But it definitely is a huge blessing in just having that.
I mean, there's been these like call center work from home type jobs around for a long time now, but I think that this pushes so many industries forward, and they're thinking of, we don't need an office building really anymore.
Yeah.
We can have our staff be working from home. I know, like for me personally, I've never worked so hard. If you can imagine that, Madison. I'm busier than I've ever been. And so, I mean, I think that people can get a lot done from home. And I think businesses will start to recognize that, and then, kind of change. So it's just interesting from that aspect of the process. So I'm guessing you'll have like a leader you report to and everything. And
yes. Yeah. So I wanted to say first that I definitely have a lot of sympathy for people who are in customer service. It is hard. And then, adding another layer on that is, working from home doing customer service, especially when you need to speak with your manager on something, it's hard to do. So we kind of have it set up to where we have like a chat room within our system. So if there's any questions that you have a chat room where your coworkers can help you with answering a question. And then you also have a manager or 2 that are in the chat room as well. But it's not always guaranteed that they'll be available because they may be in meetings, So I will say having that is great, but it's also difficult. I think I wish that I would have had a little more of a hands-on learning, just because it is a new experience. And so it's hard when someone's like, okay, go here, do this, tell them this. And you're just like, okay, and you're like, I don't feel very confident, but okay. So it's definitely a challenge. But we do have I have a manager, she's assigned to me, or I'm assigned to her. And she's great. I love her a lot, and she's really sweet. So I'm thankful for that.
So she's based out of the West Coast?
She is, I'm not sure actually where she's located. I actually don't know where she is, but we do have people that are, we have someone in Ohio, we have someone in, Missouri, like they are all over. So I'm pretty sure I'm the only one out of my little chat room. I think there's like 30 of us. I'm the only one from Florida. So I don't know.
Cool.
So switching out of work mode, what are you most excited to do once like the quarantine is done?
Oh my gosh. I think I just long to hug people. Like I think
that might not be something we'll be able to do for a while.
I know, and I'm so sad about it.
Maybe hug the people you know, but
it's true.
I think I'm a hugger too. I'm not gonna hug like complete strangers, but
true.
You know, you just never know how someone else feels about a hug, so it's kind of like,
it's true. It's true. That's so true. I know. I think I just miss hugging my friends, and I miss, brunch. That's one of my favorite things. And I think like something I'm looking forward to doing, I don't know, I think it's the whole like coulda, shoulda, woulda type of mentality, like, oh, if, before Corona, we had it so good. And in my mind, I'm like, when this is over, I'm going to the drive-in. I'm going roller skating to the roller rink. I'm like, I'm gonna do things I don't normally do. I'm going camping. Like, I haven't been camping since like I was little, so I don't even know if I can do it. But I don't know.
You could go camping now if you wanted to.
I mean, that's true. I probably could, just because, I could do it by myself. It's fine.
So I'm just remembering now. So your brother's in California. So how is he doing in California?
Yeah, he is doing great. He works for We're Not Really Strangers. Sorry, that's a tongue twister. So he works for We're Not Really Strangers. He does their social media, and he assists with designing their t-shirts. He helped design the line that they did for PacSun recently that had just released. So he's out there, and
it's a good Instagram account to follow if you're not following that account.
Yes. Wait, you mean Keaton's account?
Well, no, Keaton's too, but
We're Not Really Strangers. Yes, I love their account. It's amazing.
It's on IG.
And my other brother, Camden, he had gotten the game. So I haven't played it yet, but I want to play it. So yeah, he's doing really well. He just moved into a new apartment with a friend, literally right as, LA was kind of shutting down. And he has been able, to work from home since, he could do conference calls, all of that, because it's mainly him. And I want to say Kareen is his boss. She's the creator of it, as well as her boyfriend. He goes by Drama. I guess he was on that show it was like an MTV show. I don't keep up with the media. And so, so he works alongside them. And then I think there's one other person that they work with as well. So it's like a team of 4 people. So yeah, he really likes to be able to.
Yeah, I heard California was kind of taking it a little bit harder maybe than us.
Yeah, he said people can still kind of go out, take walks, go to, grocery stores and things. He still has to go out and take photos for the Instagram. So
it's probably a good time to take photos right now,
because nobody will be in the way.
I know, right? So it's pretty great. He doesn't have to worry about all the crowds or anything.
So I know that you are a lover of coffee shops. So
yes.
I want to know, and we've talked about coffee shops, you and I, before, and we're always like, oh, have you gone there? Have you gone here?
Yes.
So what is your favorite coffee shop, the coffee shop you're going to run to after quarantine?
Oh my gosh.
In Central Florida.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I've tried so many of them. I feel like first of all, Winter Park is my happy place. So I think that's where I'm going to rush to. And if it is in Winter Park, then I want to say I would go to Barneys Coffee Kitchen, just because I like that they serve brunch as well. And they serve Santa's White Christmas coffee blend year round there. So okay. Santa's White Christmas latte is what I'm wanting. That's what I want to go get.
So what's the flavor of that latte?
So well, first of all, it does taste like Christmas, if anyone's wondering. I want to say it has like a hint of coconut, and then kind of like a like a nutty, I don't think there's like a spice in it, but it tastes kind of like a vanilla coconutty with
Okay.
a slight like hazelnut flavor. I
So
don't know.
basically Santa on vacation.
Yeah, it pretty much, yeah. So it's kind of got like, yeah, that's the perfect way to describe it. It's Santa on vacation. So.
And they serve brunch. Have you heard of Barneys? I know you've told me about Barneys.
Yes.
I haven't been to Barneys. I don't think I've even like driven. Have I driven by it?
You probably have. It's on Park Avenue. It's just
Okay.
down the street from Williams-Sonoma and like the Briar Patch.
Oh, well, then we
probably passed it, just never been.
Yeah, it's on a corner. It's kind of hidden. You have to be looking for it, but yeah, it's one of my favorite places. It's just so cute. They have cute little marble tables outside. But then inside it's really cute too. They have some seating in there, and they have like scrambled eggs, breakfast potatoes, things like that. Like it's really cute. So
you've been in Orlando for a fair amount of time. What would be your Orlando pro tip?
Oh my gosh.
Like something that's not obvious.
Something not obvious.
Yeah, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like something that somebody like that you do or that you've done or that you like to do that you know not a lot of people might know about.
I think that I would say I mean, I like living like a local. Like I love to do that when I go visit places. So I feel like, a tip would be to steer away from the chain restaurants, try some of the hole in the wall restaurants. Definitely Winter Park or downtown Orlando has some great locations. And then also we have several farmers markets around. So I would say farmers markets as well. I just think that that's super fun. And it's kind of nice to get away from like your typical McDonald's or Starbucks, just to kind of, I don't know, live like a local, support small businesses. I'm like a firm believer, eat local, shop local, all of that. So
yeah, I mean, definitely, especially as we come out of quarantine. A few weeks ago we talked to Hungry Pants. They're reopened now with a window, so
yes. Oh my God.
it's good to, as we start coming out of quarantine more, to support local over the chains, because the local businesses really drive our community, and Orlando's really strong right now, so we need to continue that momentum in terms of our local mom and pop and all that. So speaking of local, we have a company that was started right here in Winter Park, and they are called Rifle Paper Company, and I know you love Rifle.
I'm obsessed with Rifle.
And the reason I bring that up is because we're going to do a giveaway. We're going to do a giveaway with Madison.
We have some prize packs here.
So we have a few. We're going to do 2 winners.
Yes.
So there'll be 2 winners, and we are going to give instructions on how the person can win on May 21st. But the brief scenario is now Rifle has gifts on Instagram stories. So now you can put the Rifle stickers on your Instagram stories. So we want to see everyone's most creative Instagram story, and you're going to tag Madison, you're going to tag us, and you're going to tag Rifle, because then we're going to get a sponsorship from Rifle, right?
Absolutely.
So we are going to highlight Rifle by doing that. And so what do you buy from Rifle normally, Madison?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, I mean, I have several things. I have a couple of like coffee mugs. I have definitely a lot of notebooks.
Madison, the correct answer to that is like she buys everything.
I do. I buy everything. I do. I don't know. The money magically leaves my bank account when I walk in that store.
Did you see they now have fabric? Like they have their prints on fabric, and so people are making quilts and things. But I saw an Instagram post that they were making masks with the Rifle print.
Oh, I need to get one, or I need to make one. I'm not very good with a needle and thread, so maybe I could try.
But I know you do their planners a lot. I think you like their planners.
Oh yeah. So. Yeah, I love their planners. I get one. I get one every year. And I use a ton of their notebooks. I stock up whenever they have their sample sale. They usually have a sample sale maybe once every like 3 months.
Last
So
time
that's
we were
when
there,
I go there.
they
Yes.
had like the one side that's not usually open, they had it just full of clearance stuff.
Yes.
I wonder if that was a sample sale or that's just how they have it set up now.
That probably was a sample sale because they had done that. I guess they purchased the suite next door, and so they use that, I guess, to probably store things, but then also during sample sales they'll open the doors and you can kind of funnel in and out and load your basket up.
So those who don't know about Rifle, it basically I forget the creator's name, but she
Anna Bond.
Anna. So she's from Winter Park, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
And so it started right here, but now it's really
Nationwide
probably international brand.
They have a Keds sponsor, like a collab,
partnership,
Porksicle maybe.
Yeah, do they have Porksicle?
Yeah, they do. I have 2 of those. I love them.
Do you have Keds too, Madison?
Yes, I do. I have 2 pairs.
See, I told you the right answer.
2 pairs from the first line.
Yeah, the right answer is she buys everything from Rifle.
Yeah, practically.
I mean, they're really pretty, and their calendars are really pretty. Their prints are really pretty.
They are very beautiful.
Yeah, I love them. Oh, I love flowers.
Well, Madison, thank you so much for joining us and kind of sharing your story. I think it's interesting. It's kind of talks about the time that we're in and kind of how business is going to push forward with, customer service and these jobs that used to be, clocked in a big office building, it's not going to happen anymore. And hopefully we can get back to Disney.
You have to be resourceful, survival of the fittest is what I say.
Yeah, it's true.
You got to get your mind moving and thinking outside the box.
Another thing is like if you don't have income or you can't collect unemployment for whatever reason, in Madison's case, there's jobs still available for you to go and work. There's no, you can't say there's nothing there for you when there's stuff there.
Definitely. I definitely think like going out and just taking the initiative, and just constantly, if you don't see something this week, maybe something will pop up next week. I just think that it's so important to just kind of find a way.
Yeah. So, and like I said, hopefully we'll be back to Disney sooner than later.
Yes, I hope so. I miss it a lot.
Well, thank you again, Madison. And until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Follow us on Instagram at Orlando Out of Context. Instagram is where you can connect and interact with us, as well as see photos and videos related to this week's episode.
Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and iHeartRadio.